Hope all is well. Hope you're doing well. This video is going to be a little bit different, so bear with me, y'all. But my mind and my heart is heavy this week because we lost a great one, y'all. We really lost a great one. A lot of times I don't get caught up into a lot of famous people and well-known people, but this particular person was an amazing person, and her spirit will definitely be remembered. Miss Rosalynn Carter, the reason why her life touched me is because she touched my life before I knew her. Giving you just a little history, I grew up in a little small town called Americus, Georgia. Just outside of Americus, Georgia is a little small town called Plains, Georgia. Plains, Georgia is where Miss Rosalynn Carter and Jimmy Carter were born, in Sumter County, Georgia. And in that small town, a lot of people knew everybody. You know, it was a small, quaint town, and Plains was even smaller, right? Most people, when they say they come into town in Plains, they would come to Americus. First encounter with the Carter family was at the local grocery store. It was a Piggly Wiggly. And I remember as a child, I was walking through the store and I noticed that people were talking and people were smiling. Everybody was jovial and everything. And along that meeting aisle, you know where the meat is and where everything is, that long spread at the back of the store from back in the days. There was this tall figure and a couple of other tall, towering figures. But next to them was President Carter and Miss Rosalynn Carter. Miss Rosalynn Carter, she was attracted to the kids. If there was a kid that was present, she would acknowledge them. And I just so happened to be one of them kids, but she acknowledged every single kid that she could see or that she could get in any kind of proximity to. And she would give this pleasant smile and this warm, pleasant smile. And I sit back and I think about it. Here it is, a local grocery store. And you got the former president of the United States walking through with two security guards, and he's just walking, meeting and greeting and talking to the people. That's my first encounter with the Carters. The second encounter, I remember vividly that there was a particular time that President Carter and Miss Rosalynn Carter was there at the hospital. And what were they doing? Visiting the sick and shut in. These people are amazing. It's not just that there was no cameras, there was no social media, there was none of that, right? My next encounter with Miss Carter was in elementary school. I remember one day she came over and she came in the library and there was a classroom, and just so happened to be our classroom. I don't remember the book she read, but she read to us a book. Sitting there in awe, just looking, because I still really didn't grasp who she was, but I knew she was like this well-known person, right? But I remember these accounts as a child. And leading up to that, it was like this constant contact with the Carter family throughout my life that I never really thought about. But the only thing that I could remember were they were people. They really cared about people. They really loved people. And things don't just happen by circumstance. My next encounter was quite some time. I was a teenager, and my best friend grew up in Plains, Georgia. He was a teenager. We were both around the same age, and he had a dream. We both used to have little entrepreneur spirits. And I had a car wash, he had a car wash, and his car wash was in Plains. And I remember when he says there was a gas station in the center of Plains. It's still there to this day. And the gas station was owned by Billy Carter. Billy Carter was Jimmy Carter's brother. And I remember best friend at the time, he leased the Carter's gas station. And all these other people could have leased that building, but he gave it and he took his chance on some young youth to lease that building, where there was tourism still going on and everything. But we was able to represent and fill up gas tanks and give smiles and wash cars. I just remember those opportunities. Home was in Plains, Georgia, and it was a gated. It always had a guard there at the entry level. But we were able to wash some of his security guard cars. They entrusted us to do that. Just local people, just local kids, doing that thing, giving back to the community. You working for the feds. You didn't have to use us, but they did. And I remember this like it was yesterday. My next encounter with the Carter family, and especially when I had a chance to speak to her one-on-one, was when I worked at Habitat for Humanity. Habitat for Humanity is a nonprofit organization used to be led by the founder, Miller Fuller, he was actually a local attorney in Americus, Georgia. And it's an international nonprofit organization. And at that time, Miller Fuller, he was a friend with the Carters. And the Carters would come through, and Jimmy Carter would come through, and he would shake hands with the employees. He would meet and greet people, and Miss Rosalynn would be right there with him. And I remember speaking to her, talking to her. We was talking about the weather and different basic things, just life overall, She asked me what I did, and I was a printer at the time. I worked in a print shop. But I remember those times, and I remember out of all the things you could be doing in this world, you giving and you interacting and you encouraging the people. You visiting the sick. You're reading to the kids. You're pouring into the community. And I'm thinking about all those things that you've done in your life and through your life. And all I want to say is I salute the Carter family. I salute you all. And thank you for sharing Miss Rosalynn with us. And she will always be remembered and respected. And I really appreciate and I honor the fact that I was able to meet such a beautiful person. And she will be missed. She did give life to others. And it encouraged all of us. And if you ever met her, you know that she had a warm spirit and a loving heart. So rest in peace and much love to the family. Y'all take care. Be well and stay blessed.